Welcome. It's another episode of Ask Tyler, I need a new name for that show. But the Ask Tyler show, which is now going to be the Monday show, and then I'll have my topic show on Tuesdays. So I want to welcome you. I have a special guest. You notice none of my co-hosts are here. They're all gone, and I have a special guest who agreed to come on the show an hour ago. So it's funny. The last episode, it's if any of you are longtime Tyler fans, really long time. The last episode of the Dynasty duo ever. Most people here probably don't know what even that show is. Patrick and I recorded together. I didn't know it would be the last show, but it was.
Well, I didn't realize that was the last show.
You didn't know it was. No, we didn't know it was the last show when we were doing it. I thought you were just filling in for CJ. But is that the last time we recorded anything together?
I think so. It's been a while. Like, I work during the days, and Tuesday nights are my usually busy nights at home, so we haven't done anything.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if I got you on a draft show at some point.
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have to get you on during the NFL draft this year.
For sure. I can make an appearance or two.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start planning that. In case anyone doesn't know, last year I was live for every minute of round one, and day one and day two of the NFL draft. I was very sick during those two shows, like very sick. So it was a time. Luckily, I had a lot of great guests to help kind of carry me through, but I was not having a fun time. So hopefully I'm not sick this year, but we'll have to see. It'll be something to look forward to. I always look forward to it. I usually start planning that honestly soon. Sometime in the beginning or middle of March is when I start looking to that show. And then tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, we can look forward to a Dynasty startup mock draft with picks. It's going to be very exciting. Ryan set that up for us, and we're going to have a lot of exciting guests. Dynasty Outhouse will be joining us, which is such a coincidence. He said he wanted to do Dynasty startup mocks with picks, and well, how coincidental. The show he's coming on just happens to be a Dynasty startup mock with picks. It's not a coincidence. I usually change the show topic for the guests.
The show's rigged.
The show is actually very rigged. No, it is. I do. When I have guests on the topic show, I often change the topic of the show to accommodate the guests. On the 28th, I'm going to have Matt Hicks. What a surprise. That show is going to be about rookies. Stunning, right? That show is going to be about rookies. So yeah, that's how you get the best out of your guests is, we couldn't make this whole show about the Packers. So unfortunately, I couldn't do that today. Although I could talk about the Packers for a whole show. I mean, absolutely. Let's see. What was I going to do? Well, we have some news. Why don't we? Well, first, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Secondly, I want to thank Patrick again for doing the show last minute. Conan is away somewhere. So he's not here. He'll be back next week, I assume. And then everyone else is also away or doing other things. Pretty sure we'll have like 6 people on the show tomorrow, so it'll be very crowded. So yeah, if you're here, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. You can always use the super chat if you want to support me and the YouTube channel. Help me pay for the StreamYard that I pay for out of my own pocket. And Patreon, if you're interested in getting personalized advice from me and also looking into my Patreon spreadsheet and the Discord. I have my Patreon. The $5 a month tier gets you the spreadsheet, the Discord, and pretty much is a good start to help you through your Dynasty leagues. And otherwise, if you're interested in really going back and forth with me, the more expensive tiers are a way to do that. I'll walk you through your startup. I actually haven't walked anyone through a startup in a long time. I don't know. It's because I've had so many long-term patrons. Haven't had a lot, and long-term patrons, have their existing teams. They keep working with the teams that we've been working on. Haven't had a lot of new patrons join at the higher tiers lately, so I would love to keep doing that. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all my business stuff.
You were just your spreadsheet.
I did.
How much is just your spreadsheet right now? For the rest of the season.
That Venmo offer. Yeah. So I put that on. I can put the link to that. So yeah, if you don't feel like having a recurring charge, well, thanks for reminding me about that.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like having a recurring charge, I have a Venmo thing. You can click on it there, and you just get the spreadsheet for the rest of the offseason. And for the rest of the offseason, it'll be $15. I lowered the price because of Valentine's Day, and then it's just going to stay lower. I thought I was doing a nice thing. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, Packers fan. Aaron Jones stays in Green Bay. What do you think about that?
With all the money that's tied up in so many different areas, when the Packers first re-signed Aaron Jones, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought he was gone to Miami that year. There's no chance Aaron Jones returns to the Packers back in 2021. And then he does. And he just made more in the last 2 years than any other running back other than CMC. How are you doing that while paying $50 million for Aaron Rodgers? Never knowing who your quarterback's going to be, but you know who your first-string running back is.
I know.
And you're paying way above market value. Is Aaron Jones extremely talented? Hell yes. Can they get the same production from someone in the second round this year? Possibly.
They were just in a bad situation, like they had that contract. It was like $20 million. There was so much dead cap. I understand why they did it. But now they put themselves in a situation where they have $12.3 million in dead cap next year. So like,
it's just pushing it down the line and hoping that these TV deals are going to keep raising the cap more and more and more. But you're playing a numbers game and just hoping that things are going to go well, and you're not going to end up with another COVID season that puts a shitter on the cap.
Yeah, I think I don't even know what they're doing really. Like, they're not going to have any money to sign anybody. Oh, today is actually an important day for the Packers. It's the day that all those contracts void.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Tonyan being one of them. He's the only fantasy relevant player involved in that, but his contract voids today. So unless he receives an extension, then he'll be a free agent, which I fully
expect to get.
Yeah, he is. He's just okay.
He'll go get like a two-year, $8 million contract somewhere and be serviceable. He'll be on everyone's radar for tight end 2, tight end 3 this year.
Yeah, he's just a guy. Nothing more. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is out of his darkness retreat or still in the darkness retreat?
I don't know when he officially went into it. I'd guess he comes out of it like Tuesday.
Are you of the opinion of that you're so over it?
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm so over it. Like, I am tired of hearing of Aaron Rodgers. I would assume he's going to be a Raider. I'm not 100% sure, but that seems where we're going.
Raiders or Jets, and I feel like the Jets are going to wait too long to pull the trigger and end up missing out on everyone that they thought they were going to get.
Yeah. I do think Derek Carr, though, is going to sign first. I think that's going to happen first. I think it's going to happen very soon.
Although I do think the trade aspect may finalize in theory and be announced before the NFL free agent market even opens.
I agree with that also.
Similar to the way the Stafford trade went down with Detroit and LA a few years back.
I just think Derek Carr could wrap up this week. Like, I think it's going to be soon.
Do you think he's going to announce it this soon?
Yes, because you want to, at this point, everyone is still a suitor, so you can pit everyone against each other. And then, but if you wait too long, then teams are going to make other plans, or they're going to do other things. And then you're not going to be able to get as much money. I think you get a lot from the Jets right now.
But aren't we technically in a dead period for free agents, though?
No, because he was cut, so he can sign.
Okay, so he doesn't fall into those same rules.
No, he doesn't. That's why he wanted to be cut, because he has such a huge advantage. He can sign a free agent contract now.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that the shift in rules there.
Yeah, it puts him in a unique position of leverage.
Yes. He can
I
just
mean,
go and
I would
negotiate
say,
for himself.
yeah, I mean, I would say that the Jets are interested, and the Jets are going to offer him more money than he was making before. So I think that rules out the Saints, because the Saints were not willing to pay his original contract. So I think the Saints are pretty much ruled out. I think they're kind of off the table. Their cap situation is they're not going to be able to compete with the Jets' offer. The Jets have a very good salary cap situation. They can afford it. They can afford some structure of it, but they can afford to pay Derek Carr what he was making before, if not more. Whereas none of the other teams, the Bucks are not in a great salary cap space. They're better off than the Saints, but not much. The Panthers can afford it, but I don't know if they're really going that way. And then there are a few other teams, but it's looking like it's trending toward the Jets to me at this point. I thought it was going to be the Bucks, but the Bucks haven't really made like a significant effort toward Derek Carr. They were the odds favorites like the day he was released. And then it just kind of feels like they've gone another way.
Most definitely. What do you think about the Falcons? I know there's not been much buzz with them at all. Where do you see their quarterback situation going?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the Falcons are too far away. Like, yes, they had the same record as the Saints, but I think the Falcons roster is much worse. I think the Falcons roster is worse. They're worse. I think the Falcons kind of thing where they are so far away. They were one of the teams going into 2022 that I thought was in the worst situation overall. No quarterback, no salary cap space, no real extra draft picks, no advantage. Nothing good about them. I think they're so far away. I don't think a Band-Aid is going to help them. Derek Carr, if you're Derek Carr, would you rather go to the Jets or the Falcons? I don't see the Falcons being able to compete in that market. I think the teams that can offer Derek Carr a chance to win are the Jets and the Bucks. And the Bucks have not made moves toward signing Derek Carr. So those were always the two favorites for me after the Saints trade fell through. So after that didn't happen, the Jets and the Bucks are the two most likely. And it looks like right now the Jets are the favorite. The Bucks have offensive weapons. That's why I would look at them as another alternative. The Saints, Falcons, I don't know. I mean, the offensive weapons are not bad, but there's a lot of work to do there. The Jets are really the tempting one.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah,
it could be a really fun team to watch.
I do think Elijah Moore will be very overrated if Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is not going to save Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore was terrible no matter who played, no matter which quarterback it was. He was bad with all of them. So he's someone I would be a sell for me, no matter who the Jets got.
He's bad with coaching. He's bad with the coaches.
Yeah, it's weird because
he's in the proverbial doghouse.
Yeah, and you know who Elijah Moore reminds me a little bit of? Just a little.
Are you gonna say Brandon Ayuk?
No.
Before?
Brandon Ayuk is still good.
Not be good.
Now the one before Brandon Ayuk, right team, wrong player. Dante Pettis.
Oh.
Dante Pettis, someone who had it's almost the same career path. Someone who had a very strong 6 to 7 game stretch in their rookie year, was very hyped, came out in year 2 and did nothing, and then just never really got their act together. That's who he kind of reminds me of. They're actually not that different. They have a lot in common. Elijah Moore to me is someone where I think at this point, it wasn't like he was hurt. He was available. Other receivers at times, Garrett Wilson, were very good. Even Corey Davis was able to produce. Elijah Moore just kind of did nothing. And it's so scary that it was a whole year of nothing. And I think that, he's someone that Derek Carr, while Derek Carr might be okay, like Derek Carr is not going to save him. Aaron Rodgers might. I still think Aaron Rodgers is better for fantasy. Derek Carr. Obviously, I'd rather have Derek Carr in Dynasty because he's 8 years younger. But I think for next year, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback for my fantasy weapons than I would Derek Carr. I think the team with Aaron Rodgers, as in Devontae Adams, I think will be better with Aaron Rodgers than he was with Derek Carr. Darren Waller will be better off with Aaron Rodgers coming in over Derek Carr as an upgrade. For Hunter Renfrow, I think Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade, not a downgrade. So that's my opinion about Aaron Rodgers. But of course, the age will make me lean toward Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr has 4 or 5 years left. I think Aaron Rodgers has 2. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go to a new team, say, I'm going to play for 2 years, and then I think he's going to retire. I think Aaron Rodgers, you can count on exactly 2 years, probably no more, no less. So keep that in mind. Derek Carr, I don't see Derek Carr's career as anywhere near being over. I think he still has it. All right, let's get into some of these questions.
Yeah, let's go.
12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9. Well, this is a lot, all right. Give 102, 101, 102, 108, 111, 224 first, receive Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson. Well, I never see Josh Allen traded. I never see Justin Jefferson traded. I never see the 101 traded. So that's a lot of crazy pieces.
Oh, that's all right. The start 9 is making me lean the Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson side.
I think
you
so.
got your 3 firsts, and you have 2 guaranteed top tier quarterback 1 through either Josh Allen's going to be their quarterback 1, 2, or 3 next year. Justin Jefferson's going to be wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 next year if they stay healthy. You're guaranteeing that for 2 spots on your lineup every single week.
How much on top of the 101 would you give for Justin Jefferson?
110.
Okay. Yeah, for me, 101 and 111 is about right for Justin Jefferson. Bijan and 111 for Justin Jefferson is about right. So then for the rest of it, it's 102, 108, and 224 first for Josh Allen. So essentially, I'm trading probably Bryce Young, 224 firsts, and 108 for Josh Allen. It's the kind of thing, if I had these picks, this is not my style. I'm not going to do this. I don't do this. This is, this is an overpay value-wise. I think if you put it in a trade calc, it would prefer the pick side. And I just don't do this. I don't do this. I don't do this because in a startup, I would never recommend trading up this way. I would never trade up this way. If you put all this stuff in a startup at where the players would go, and I took the names away, you'd prefer the package side on. Most people would prefer the package side on the left. If you looked at it that way, when you put in the names, it makes you see Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson. I think it makes you go toward the other side. But if you actually look at the value, you put in a trade calc or look at a startup, it's going to lean me toward the package of picks. Of course, if I have Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson and I'm competing, I don't know if I can give them up for this. But this is the kind of offer it would take. I'd probably like a little bit more. But I don't think I would give this. It's a little expensive.
It feels like you're rushing to get through your rebuild if you're giving that.
I agree with that. I don't see any
reason. There's other weaknesses to your roster if you're making that trade. If you have all those picks to do that.
I'm just never on the side of giving away all this stuff. Very rare. Does it matter where Bijan goes, or is he number 1 regardless of destination? Given the quality of this class, I think it's unlikely that Bijan can be displaced of 101. Not that the quality of the class is bad. I actually think the quality of the class is very good. But this class has a lot of great prospects and a lot of really good prospects. But it does not have a lot of elite prospects. In fact, there's only one. It's Bijan. There's no other elite prospect in any position in this class. No one generational. Bryce Young is fine. I'd say he's an average number 1 overall picked quarterback. Average. There's one of him every year, pretty much. He's nothing special. For a number 1 overall pick. Of course, that means he's very good. But not special as in, you can find a player of Bryce Young's caliber in most draft classes. At tight end, Michael Mayer is great. but we're not talking generational prospect like Kyle Pitts was thought to be, or, we're talking more in the vein of a TJ Hawkinson level of prospect. Those come up from time to time. They're not super rare. And then at wide receiver, I like JSN and Jordan Addison, but neither of them they're not Jamar Chase. They're not Jamar Chase or someone of that caliber, or, DeAndre Hopkins from back in the day. Or I hate to say it, but a Sammy Watkins level prospect. Just shows even those prospects don't always hit. But yeah, so there is not that type of just ultra elite talent in this class other than Bijan Robinson. So since he's the only ultra elite talent in this class, he will be 101 no matter what. To me, I cannot be moved.
I agree there. I think even if he goes somewhere that already has an established starting running back, he displaces them.
Oh, it doesn't matter who the established running back is. He's better than, I think right now he would be a top 5 running back in the NFL. So I don't that sounded crazy, but it's not. I think he'd be a top 5 running back in the NFL right now. So doesn't matter. He'll be number 1 for me. Interesting. I keep hearing opposite sides on Anthony Richardson. What's your outlook on him? Good question. Well, Anthony Richardson for me is a little bit like Malik Willis in that the NFL is going to tell me how in. I don't care. I mean, I care, but to me, he's very, very high risk. The NFL is going to tell me how in on Anthony Richardson I'm supposed to be. If Anthony Richardson falls out of the first round, I can tell you I'll have zero interest in him. If he goes early, then I'll probably be pretty interested because the upside's there. But he is a high risk prospect.
I'd say for me to be in on him, I need him to have top 15 draft capital.
I think he will.
I think he will too. I think his age gives him a lot of advantages where he comes in young like Jordan Love was.
Yeah.
Where there's time to give him a year or two to sit. But if he's coming in somewhere to start right away, I don't care for it. I don't think
he's not like the youngest prospect ever, but yeah, he'll be 22 before the season starts, just like Bryce Young.
But definitely compared to like Will Levis, who's
Will Levis is 2 years older, yeah. For me, I like Anthony Richardson. His college stats are bad. I mean, there's no way to get around it. They're bad. So, someone saying that he played, it's not fair to say that he played well at Florida. He did not. But it's a traits thing that people are looking at. You're looking to see if you can have that upside without having all of the mistakes, the inaccuracy, and really the fact that he's just not ready to run an NFL offense. He wasn't ready to run a college offense. So we'll have to see. What would be your ideal landing spot?
I'd like him to sit behind someone for a year or two. I don't even know.
Right. Yeah, I think that if I'm looking at the board, I still think Indianapolis is going to trade up to 1, and Houston will be 2, and that'll be Stroud and Young. And then, Levis, I think, could end up in Atlanta or Carolina. And then, further down the board, if you look at it, I mean, Tennessee is at 11. I think that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely a possibility. They could just kind of end the Malik Willis idea. This is the last year of Ryan Tannehill's contract. You have Anthony Richardson, and then you can still have Malik Willis. You can just keep him as, you still have 3 years left in his rookie deal, and he could be kind of the backup. I don't think Malik Willis is anything. I think he's a bust. So Anthony Richardson, and also Anthony Richardson and Malik Willis could run the same offense, similar to Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, he's not quite as athletic as they are, but it's not that different of an offense. So that would be interesting.
Looking at draft order, Carolina, Tennessee at 9 or 11 do seem to be like a decent spot for him. If he goes to Carolina, I'd look for another bridge quarterback for a year.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the kind of thing where like he needs to sit. I don't know how long he's going to need to sit for. I usually say sitting doesn't work, but depends. I also don't think Anthony Richardson is worth a top 10 pick.
True. Is it a matter of that sitting off is often the case for prospects that just aren't ready yet, and then you don't ever show that they've developed into that ready prospect? At that point, it comes down to coaching, and what do you do once the player's there? Because one of the things I hate looking at people that go, oh, look at this Hall of Fame athlete that was drafted 3 picks after your favorite team drafted someone else. And like, well, different situations. As a prospect, it may have been the right choice, and they just developed the player better. Yeah. And so how much of that is true with quarterbacks, especially as we get farther down the board? At some point, you have to put ownership on the coaches to take that player and develop them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see where Richardson goes. I want to see, what he does at the combine, if anything. And, I don't think, just looking at it, I think Washington at 16 is kind of, I think Washington is okay with just letting Sam Howell be their quarterback. I think they're fine with that. I think they're okay with that. But if Anthony Richardson fell to them at 16, I don't think they're going to trade up to get him. I don't think they're going to do anything special to get him. But I think if he were there, they would take him. And I don't see him getting past 16. I think that's kind of the floor. I guess, I really don't see him getting past that. And that would still be higher draft capital than any quarterback had last year. So, what is Najee Harris's value right now? What's the value to you?
Mid to late first. Random 24 first.
That's about right. Yeah. Najee Harris to me is a buy if people are really frustrated, but if I have to pay that market price, I'll just go after someone else.
Yep.
But I don't hate him.
Would you rather have Najee or whoever turns out to be the RB3 of this class?
Well, that kind of depends. Depends on how good. As of now, I have Najee ranked higher than the RB3 in this class. Mm-hmm. But if one of the what I have is the group of 3 of Devon Achane, Zach Charbonnet, and Zach Evans, if one of them really blows up the NFL Combine and then they're not going to go in round 1, but if they get round 2 draft capital to a good landing spot, I could see moving for them because, I mean, they're all 2001 birthdays. So they're all 3 years younger than Harris or more. So I could see it. If they get second round draft capital, third round is a little more shaky. But second round draft capital with a clear starting landing spot. Like, let's say one of them, I mean, A-Chain is my favorite at the moment. But I like Charbonnet as well. Evans, I'm a little more skeptical that the NFL is not a fan. Dynasty manager, he is the third in RB3 in most Dynasty rankings I've seen. But the NFL, I don't know. Whereas the NFL seems to like, A-Chain is getting higher draft capital projections. But, I think for those guys, a good realistic landing spot, I'm looking at the board here. Like, I don't know how good this landing spot is, but like 40 to Carolina, it's not the worst. I mean, that's pretty good draft capital. Maybe not my favorite landing spot, but pretty good draft capital.
That's really good draft capital.
Yeah. 52 to Miami. It's another spot.
And that'll depend on what Miami does in free agency, too.
Yeah.
If they choose to wait for the draft or if they...
54 to Chicago. If Montgomery walks.
I can see Zach Evans being good in Chicago.
Yeah, there are a lot of options. I mean, 45 to Atlanta. If Atlanta's really going to run the ball as much as they claim. I mean, Tyler Algier is just a guy, so I wouldn't hate any of these options.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of totally open backfields, so
that's what the league's moving away from. So we're not going to see anyone getting work. Very few.
There's not a lot of totally open backfields before free agency, let alone after.
And let alone before this draft class even comes in.
Yeah, but like, there's not that many open spots for someone to come in. I mean, a free agent or two is going to get screwed. Like, someone is going to get screwed by Bijan Robinson might not be many open backfields left, but he's going to come in and clear everyone out to wherever he goes. So we'll see. That's why I'm very wary about buying running backs right now, because there's just so many. This is it's not necessarily the most top-heavy running back class outside of Bijan Robinson, but this is a very deep running back class. There are a lot of running backs who can come in and make a difference.
Give me the backup running backs right now that you can potentially sell off as soon as free agency hits. And they're
Khalil Herbert is top of my list.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier is not a backup, but he's someone I don't want any part of. Isaiah Pacheco.
Yep. Give me the guys whose values can shift with just a single tweet from Adam Schefter, as their standing in their backfield goes up or it goes down.
Yeah, I mean,
and then make that move.
Yeah, I mean, of the ones to sell, the ones that have the highest value, I mean, J.K. Dobbins is like not way overvalued. I've seen at least 5 mocks where they've taken Bijan Robinson in the first round. So just the fact that that's a possibility, which would reduce J.K. Dobbins' value to zero, essentially zero. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, if Bijan Robinson were drafted there, J.K. Dobbins would hold similar value to like what Kenneth Gainwell is worth now. Or what Elijah Mitchell is worth now. He would lose 80% of his value. So, yeah, J.K. Dobbins is like, you have no upside and all risk. He's a player I just don't understand. Najee Harris is a little less risky. I don't see any universe. And the Steelers are not replacing Najee Harris or even supplanting Najee Harris. I actually don't think the Steelers are even acquiring a running back. I think they're happy with Jaylen Warren as their backup. This one I'm a little more worried about. I will tell you that they cannot go in with Latavius Murray as their backup to Javonte Williams. I saw a recent article where it said that the Broncos were interested in signing David Montgomery, and then another one that said they were interested in Miles Sanders. And those are threats. Those are not irrelevant.
Miles Sanders is definitely a threat to Javonte.
So is David Montgomery. I mean, David Montgomery has done a lot more in the NFL than Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm.
They're both a threat. I mean, they're both a threat. David Montgomery, they're scary in different ways. David Montgomery is more scary that he could become the starter completely, because David Montgomery has proven that he can play on all 3 downs and really be a workhorse when necessary. Miles Sanders is scary in that Miles Sanders is actually pretty explosive if you give him like 40% of the work. So he'll never go away. He's actually good on limited touches, just not good when you really try to give him 20 carries. It doesn't work. He just wears down. He gets injury, tired, efficiency goes away. So they're both scary, and they would both reduce Javonte Williams' value. And the Broncos have to do something. Javonte Williams is not going to be ready. Javonte Williams is a huge sell to me. I have no interest.
Yeah. Javonte, managers were hopeful going to last year. He was finally out of his 55-45 running back share, only to injure himself, and now looks like he's going to fall back into another 40-40-20 split, depending on everyone that comes in.
I just need to see it with him, and I don't even know what I'm looking to see, but...
What, you didn't see it in his rookie year when he...
Well, no.
I'm being sarcastic.
No, the rookie
when he
year
was up to RB5.
Well, no, actually, the rookie year he played pretty well, but this injury is brutal. Like brutal. It's like a multiple,
Yeah.
Injury. So
Yeah, he got messed up pretty good. But
he's someone I'm going to stay.
He was overvalued
That's
before that. So my point, and that's just where we're at with dynasty valuations of players. We get hyped on things and keep kind of jerking ourselves off for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Javante. Oh, he's at RB. I want to be the guy that has an RB7, and someone's like, oh, I want to have an RB6. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, we're just gonna keep.
I just want to kind of stay away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not the worst running back value, but he comes with a lot of risk. Will Kenny Pickett get better in his second season? I mean, he wasn't bad. Kenny Pickett is someone who I think if you just look at the raw numbers, they're going to say he was a lot worse than he really was.
Mm-hmm.
He really was not bad. He really was not bad. A lot of those, he had that game where he had 3 interceptions and 0 turnover-worthy throws. So if you it's Kenny Pickett was better than the numbers say he was. I think he will get better in his second season. And I think that the Steelers are committed to Kenny Pickett, like pretty solidly. I think they're going to give him a chance. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be their starter this year for sure, obviously. And then I don't really see him as someone who's going to be replaced anytime soon. Unless any team can bottom out and go 2-15, but this is a Mike Tomlin team. Mike Tomlin doesn't go 2-15. So assuming they're like decent or good next year, Kenny Pickett's not getting replaced. So yeah, I think he's fine.
Yep, he's definitely building well. He showed development through the year. I think a big defining moment for him was the Raiders Steelers game, end of the season. I think that showed Steelers have faith in him. I think the fan base got behind him a little bit more with that game.
Yeah, and he's either going to have the same or better weapons next year.
Yep.
I don't think Deontay Johnson is actually going anywhere. As much as there's a lot of things, I don't really think that's actually happening.
You think he's going to punch Kenny Pickett?
No. And, Pickens will be in year 2. And there were some rumors that they could pick Jordan Addison. I think that's a little bit of a pipe dream, but you never know. I just think the Steelers have bigger needs than picking a receiver at 17th overall.
Yep, there's other gaps in that roster.
They have Calvin Austin as a potential wide receiver 3, and I think they'll sign like a veteran to kind of compete for that spot. But Deontay and Pickens is like 1 and 2, and then a veteran and Calvin Austin at 3 and 4 is a fine room with Pat Freiermuth, who's also solid at tight end. So I don't think receiver is a huge need for them. How much do you value Jacoby Myers? Well, it's tough. Jacoby Myers, he needs to sign in the right place.
Yeah. Jacoby's Jacoby. Like, he's going to be the guy that gets you 60 to 70 catches for 800 yards wherever he goes. He's going to get 4 touchdowns. I can get that on the waiver wire with more upside.
He's just okay. I do actually kind of like. He's not bad. He's someone I'd consider picking, but I'm at wide receiver 43 in Dynasty, and that's not even including rookies. So it's not someone I'm super high
on. I'm not upset if he's the last flex on my roster.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at my team and I've got him slotted in as wide receiver 3, I'm kind of panicking.
I don't want him to be my wide receiver 3.
Exactly. Like, it's just
and once rookies are included, I won't even want him as a 4. More of a 5 to me. Where does Dalton Schultz land?
Honestly, don't care where he goes. He's a strong tight end, but he's just a guy.
Do you think he stays?
No.
No. I'm starting to lean toward that way. I've been saying he's going to stay for like a really long time, but I'm starting to doubt it.
I want to see something more from him away from Dallas, away from their big 2 tight end sets. I want to see him earn it in a crowded offense.
Yeah. He's definitely a player I'm like I said, I'm starting to sour on. Because if he doesn't stay, I'm going to be kind of scared.
How many good tight end landing spots do you think there are right now?
Oh, plenty of
them. With the amount of strong wide receiver talent.
I mean, the Chargers would be good.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not. There aren't that many.
Like he can go to Jacksonville if Ingram doesn't resign, but
I think they're gonna resign Ingram.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that like he's gonna get a boatload of money from Houston, and then like or something like that, or Carolina, and it's just like not gonna be fantasy gold.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who has the cap to actually go out and spend $8 to $10 million on a year on a tight end right now, and I'm like, there's not much.
Yeah, I was thinking he would be back, but it's not looking like that lately. We'll see. I would say, is there anywhere he can go where he even maintains the same value as Dallas? Or no?
Jets?
That's not me. No. That's not.
I
would say no.
You don't think he can outdo Conklin and Uzama?
I mean, first of all, the Jets can't afford it because they signed those contracts last year. And secondly, no. I don't think that it's a good spot, really. For some reason, I just think that it works in Dallas, but I don't know if he's going to translate to another team very well. We'll have to see.
Detroit could use another tight end.
That's true. I don't know if that's a great spot, though. They didn't use Hawkinson that much.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I feel like both teams got better with that trade.
It's bizarre, but it's actually kind of true.
The Lions' offense started clicking better. They didn't feel like they were forcing it to Hawkinson, even though he had like that 200-yard game. And then somehow, after trading away a star tight end, ended up doing extremely well. And that could have been the difference in them potentially winning against Buffalo on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Or winning the Carolina
so weird.
game and the playoffs.
Their season totally turned around, like, right after.
Within that 1 week. Yep.
I don't really know. Is better quarterback going to land in Atlanta? I just think Atlanta is so far away. Like a Band-Aid, better maybe, but it's only through the draft. I don't think Atlanta. A lot of people on my Derek Carr thread were like Atlanta. And I was like, that one, I don't see that. I don't see that. Why would Derek Carr go there? That team is bad. The defense is atrocious. It's the offense is really. I mean, yes, they have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, but they don't have anyone else. And defense felt like it was like 10 players away from being good. Somehow. They're just not there. I think Atlanta needs a total reset. So I do think at 8 or trading up, they could be interested in a young quarterback. I think it's either going to be Desmond Ridder or someone in the first round. And potentially if it's Anthony Richardson, Desmond Ridder could start the season and then Anthony Richardson could come in later. But I don't see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, what Atlanta does in free agency is going to tell you a lot. To be honest, if they sign someone like okay, that would make me more likely to think that Desmond Ridder is actually going to be the starter. Like if they sign someone like who's like okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Ritter was fine for how limited his snaps were this year, and with the offense Arthur Smith wants to run, with no Kyle Pitts at the end of last year when he was playing, give him a full offseason. If I'm Atlanta, I do kind of want to see what Ritter has to with the
I think it's
with
better
the
to see.
franchises.
I think it's better to see what Ritter has over any veteran option out there, given what they would cost. But I think that if you get to 8 and the quarterback you want in the first round is there, that Ritter is not enough of an obstacle to stop me from taking him. I think that's really what the situation is. So it's really going to come down to that. Desmond Ritter is another Davis Mills, though. I don't think he's good. I never thought he was good. I don't like him. And I think if he falls into a starting job in year 2, he's going to be out of a starting job by year 3, just like Gardner Minshew. Same career path. It's always the same with these guys. Davis Mills had a little bit in year 1, fell into starting job in year 2, lost job in year 3. Gardner Minshew, Davis Mills, same thing. I think Desmond Ritter is the next in that line. He is not good. He's not good. But better to let him see it. The Falcons going into 2023 are going to be better than the Texans were going into this year. So it's possible he could be okay. So he's a better shot. But that assumes that they don't pick someone in the first round. What is the Cardinals offense going to look like in 2023? Okay, so I hate to use this comparison, but I actually think it's very similar to the Browns going into 2022. It's just a lost season. You get into this sometimes. This is the way it is. If you have a quarterback who's under a huge contract, who misses a majority of the season, you're just screwed. You're just screwed. You cannot, and you know it, and there's no way to get out of it. That's the situation they're in. They're stuck under Kyler's contract through the series of guarantees through like 2026 or 2027. They can't get rid of him. But they have to pay the salary cap charge. So they can't make a competitive team. You can barely make a competitive team with a $45 million Kyler, let alone with a $45 million Kyler you don't have. So they're screwed. They're screwed. They're completely screwed. It's not going to be good. And I think that by the time Kyler's ready to come back, I'm not sure that Kyler's going to come back. So I would just say chalk up 2023 to be a completely lost season for the Cardinals.
This is how I see their season.
Oh, I love it.
That's Oscar the Grouch.
I love it.
Driving a garbage truck. And teams are going to have fun just teeing off on the Cardinals. It's going to be defensive ends and linebackers getting their sacks for the year, helping themselves in their future free agent conversations by saying, oh, look, I finished the season with inflated stat numbers because I got to play the Cardinals twice.
I do think that whoever signs as the Cardinals quarterback is having an interesting audition. Like, they're going to get to start a lot of games. And that's an interesting audition. I think they're going to go for someone slightly higher end. Wouldn't it be funny if they signed Baker Mayfield?
I was thinking of another Browns quarterback that I thought could have also been part of the conversation about Atlanta that I didn't mention, but Jacoby Brissett. Making a career is... He wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad, but Jacoby Brissett, I think, is a backup. I'm more interested in, like, Gardner Minshew. We'll see. Whoever signs there, though, it's an intriguing opportunity. But DeAndre Hopkins will be gone. I'm pretty confident he's going to be traded because you're not going to want to sit on a lost season at 31.
James Conner stays.
Yeah,
there's too much dead. There's too much dead cap.
There's
and
no way out of it.
Really
yeah.
like him there. Yep.
Hollywood Brown.
I'll take it for him.
Hollywood Brown. I mean, they have him under contract. So he'll be there.
Yeah, isn't Spot Track so great?
Yeah, it really is. All right. 10-team Superflex have Pitts, Schultz, and Andrews. Would it be too much to give up 206, 301, and Andrews to get Waddle?
No.
If it's not tight end premium, it's not too much. If it's tight end premium, then Andrews and Waddle are pretty equal to me. Well, actually, not really. I'd still rather have Waddle. It's not actually that much. Andrews is someone I'm a little shaky on.
If Lamar is gone, I'm perfectly fine with taking the picks or taking Waddle.
But Andrews' best ever production in his career was when Lamar was gone. It was not this year, but it was 2021.
Yeah,
without Lamar, those were his best games. So I'm not sure Lamar is that helpful. So, yeah, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with taking Waddle. Okay. For the questionable trades I made that got me lambasted on Twitter, that's interesting. How do you think my team ended up? I plan on using those. I don't know. This you got to put. Do you know how many notifications I get? You got to put these in the chat, like directly, for me to follow along with that. I have 224 first and no first in 23. The 107 owner wants my projected late 24 first plus for 107. Would you play a plus to do this? And if so, what? I mean, I guess, right? Like, I'm not that excited for it, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much that plus is.
Yeah, what is that plus?
If that plus is throwing like a 3rd round pick on there, sure. But for me, the cutoff for just sending a 1st round pick this year is like the 108, 109 for any random 24 first. And honestly, late is hard to judge on February 20th of that
that's so
year.
True.
Anything can happen. Suddenly that 24 first is looking at a top 4 pick. I would do the 107 for the 24 late first straight up. But obviously he doesn't want to make that pick.
Yeah. I love this this sleeper alert. Financially constrained and without a 1st round pick, the Rams will likely run it back with their current roster in 2023. As if we didn't know that. What does that even mean?
I didn't get that notification.
Oh, really?
And I'm okay with not getting it.
Yeah.
I think they think you need to know that, Tyler.
Oh, okay.
You're not thinking hard enough about football that you just forgot that the Rams have no picks.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot. Would you rather have Javonte Williams or the 102? The 102.
102.
Yeah, easily.
No, the 104.
Yeah, or even lower than that. Daniel Jones wants $45 million, and Saquon is likely to hit the market. Are you buying it? No. No, I'm not buying any of it. Daniel Jones is not getting $45 million, and Saquon might be hitting the market. I don't know. It depends.
Yep.
But the franchise tag for Daniel Jones would be $32 million. So I don't know how much more he's getting than that.
Yep, agreed. He's gonna get somewhere around 30 to 35 million total for a year, and that's gonna be that. Saquon might hit the market. We'll see.
That's a Patreon link, and that is the link to my to just buy the spreadsheet. All right. Give Dylan and Zappy, get Cousins, 12 team Superflex. What? This is ridiculous. It's Kirk Cousins easily. Jameis to the Falcons. I can see that as a backup. But Jameis, I think his career as a starter in the NFL is over.
There's a reason he never got the starting job back from Andy Dalton.
Yeah, they kind of did him.
And no one wants to say, and no one wants to talk about it. Everyone just wants to be like, Jameis got robbed. No, Jameis just
is bad.
He's not showing what he's supposed to be or what he's marketed to be.
He would. on a 5-12 team.
And that's praying that he's allowed to sling it after he's thrown 20 interceptions.
Yeah, I don't know if Arthur Smith would allow it. How high would I be drafting Pitts in 2 quarterback, tight end premium, and startups? Probably higher than you, Anthony.
Early second?
Yeah. Okay. Happy Monday, guys. 12-team Superflex. Would you rather have 210 or 303 and 309? That's hard to say this far out, but I'll take the 210.
I want the 210 because I feel like someone will jump a lot in the next 2 months.
I feel like there's going to be...
Right there. Like that 303, 309 trade's always going to be there.
I feel like the 210 is going to be a tier above the 303.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take the 210. Chances Hopkins ends up catching passes from Mahomes or Lamar in Baltimore. I have said that the Chiefs could trade for DeAndre Hopkins so many times. So that one I think is likely. Lamar in Baltimore, zero. No wide receiver is ever going to voluntarily go to Baltimore unless they're ring chasing. And I'm not sure DeAndre Hopkins is at that stage of his career yet. I think he still wants to put up numbers. And you don't put up numbers in Baltimore. So 0 on Lamar in Baltimore. I have said the Chiefs are by far the most likely trade destination for DeAndre Hopkins. So that would be my first choice if he were traded, most likely, in my opinion. They need a receiver. They just won the Super Bowl. They need a receiver badly. I think Juju is going to walk. So I think Juju walks. And, I mean, Kadarius Toney, inconsistent, always injured. Sky Moore looked horrible all year. I mean, MVS is overpaid, and they can get rid of him and save a good amount of money at the start of the year. So, yeah, I think they're going to have a complete overhaul, and someone like DeAndre Hopkins could certainly be a part of it. But, yeah, the Chiefs are someone I feel like they're going to draft another receiver in the draft because I feel like they have to.
Would Hopkins going to the Chiefs be almost similar to Moss going to Brady and the Patriots?
It could be. It could be because Patrick Mahomes is that good. And DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Fame level receiver. So absolutely, yes, could be. Definitely could be. Good comparison. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is someone who definitely still has it, but probably is not going to, at this point in his career, succeed with Andy Dalton or Jacoby Brissett or whoever, Gardner Minshew. But with Patrick Mahomes, I think DeAndre Hopkins could be a wide receiver 1 for fantasy. Of course, in Dynasty, I'd sell him if he went there, but
The minute that news got announced.
Yeah, I'm just worried that he doesn't end up there. That he ends up somewhere that's just like it's okay, but not quite as good. You know, there are a lot of okay destinations, but that one is like off the charts.
And for someone like Hopkins, who's been seemingly quarterback proof for most of his career in Houston and then in Arizona, like he'll be fine wherever he goes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But can he be absolutely elite?
I think it's
world changing, game breaking. Yes, he can still do that if given the right quarterback.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hey Andrea.
Hello.
Garrett Wilson in 101 or Javonte Williams 102, 109, 110, and 203. Oh, I mean, it's Garrett Wilson in the 101 very easily.
Yep.
I'd rather have the 101 over the 102 by a lot, and then I'd rather have Garrett Wilson over that package of 2 late firsts and Javonte and the 203. But anyway, I mean, the 101 is worth so much more. I mean, the 101 for the 102 and like 109 is pretty fair. And then Garrett Wilson over that package.
That's where I was adding. I was like,
yeah.
Javonte for the 109, the 102 and 110 for the 101, and then I just get Garrett Wilson for the 203.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Thanks for the show. You're welcome. You're welcome. I would have definitely come on alone for a few minutes just to say hi. But I appreciate Patrick for coming on and not making me have to do this alone. One QB with option to keep up to 5 keepers. I have Chase, Cup, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, DK, and Javonte. Who would you cut? I mean Javonte. And then, man, that's brutal.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 there, right?
Oh, yeah. So just Devontae then. That's easy. And when you trade Cup for Bijan straight up, yes. Why would the Cowboys franchise a 26-year-old running back with a broken leg, only to split carries and not receive goal line work, especially with this free agency and rookie RB classes? I agree with you, but that's what they're going to do. Like, it doesn't matter what we think they should do. That's what they're going to do. They're going to retain Tony Pollard.
Could you see them just putting a tender on him?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The slightly cheaper. Yeah.
I think he'd sign for more on the free agent market, actually.
Probably.
So, yeah, I think they will retain him with a franchise tag. And then with Zeke is either going to have to take a pay cut, or they'd only save $5 million by cutting him, but I think they still will cut him if he doesn't take a pay cut. They're not going to keep Zeke at his current salary.
Yeah.
And they can cut him. It would be brutal, but for the first time, it would save them money to cut him. I agree with you. This is not the best way to appropriate dollars and like set up your team, but it's Jerry Jones. This is what he's going to do. Yeah. So you just have to keep in mind that, like, I can criticize the Cowboys for that as much as I want, but it's not going to stop them from doing it. Should we be trading Fields while his value is high? It seems like he's a great fantasy quarterback right now, but the real NFL is not sold on him. And he could be done in 2 more years. No fantasy points if he doesn't play. I mean, to a degree, maybe, but I'm not in a rush to sell Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm selling Fields, I'm waiting for the NFL draft to happen. I'm waiting for the Bears and free agency to happen. Because it's not going to go, his value is not going to go down based on that. His value is going to go up as he gains weapons and he gains an offense around him.
Yeah. I do think it's going to be a better offense this year.
Yes, much better.
It can't be worse.
There's no.
Not passing wise anyway.
Wait, how is their offense like bottom 4 in the NFL when every other defense in their division is bottom 5 in the league?
Don't know.
Like, how are they that bad?
I don't know.
They got to play the Lions and the Vikings defense twice.
I honestly, I really don't know. But yeah, what kind of pieces would you need to move from Josh Allen to Hurts? Not much. Not much. I mean, early to mid second on top of Hurts at most. Not much, if anything.
You mean like the 202?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Schultz to Green Bay or Tampa Bay, I could see. Green Bay can't afford him. Tampa Bay also can't afford him. So I don't think so. Tampa Bay has Kate on, and I think they're happy with him. As a cheap tight end, I don't think they're going to be signing Dalton Schultz. They just cannot afford him. Green Bay, I think they have other needs. Domin's college production is pretty elite. That's true. Is it the injuries who dropped him so far? Or do you not like him as a runner? I just think it's the kind of thing where, like, we've seen 3 years. He hasn't been a workhorse in those 3 years. There was an injury. He missed time. Took him a while to come back from that injury. He wasn't the same. Yeah, he looked good, but it just, he's at the end of his rookie deal. This is when you sell a running back. You know, you want those early years in Dynasty. And now we're past that. And now we're on to the 4th year of the rookie deal. This is when most running backs like Miles Sanders, even if they have a great year, still lose value. Or David Montgomery, who not quite as good, and he's lost a lot of value. This is just when you move on. This is when you move on outside of someone who's elite. And he has not been elite in the NFL at all. He hasn't even been fantasy great other than a few games here and there. He's had like, what, 2 5-6 game stretches of being great in 3 years? I mean, that's not that good. So for someone like that, I'm always just selling them. All the risk is on your side. The only running backs I'm willing to carry beyond that are like your Jonathan Taylor types, or he's going into year 4 as well. Or someone like Christian McCaffrey. But J.K. Dobbins is not that. Send the screenshots. I will say, when we're asking questions on live shows, the question needs to fit into this chat function. Like if you ask the question somewhere else or anywhere else, like I'm not going to be able to pull that in on a live show. I do have a Patreon question show that I do. It's not live, so I can do this. It's not live. If you're in the Patreon, I take questions in the Patreon Discord. I type them out on the show sheet, have them ready in advance, and then I do a solo show. The first one is on the YouTube channel. You can see it. I do a solo show for everybody, but all the questions are from the Patreon. So I do take outside questions that way. But yeah, no, trying to tweet me the background to the question during the show. I can, yeah, it takes me a while to pull that in. The questions on live shows need to be in the live chat here.
And super chats get them read faster.
Yeah, that's true. I usually get to all the questions, but yeah, super chats will get the question read immediately if you don't want to wait. But usually I get to all the questions, but sometimes I fall behind. So if you want an immediate answer while you're watching, the super chat is the way to go. But yeah, trying to ask me questions on Twitter, they're not going to get read on the show unless they're right. So you're kind of buying it. I don't remember what I was kind of buying. Inbox offer to receive Trevor Lawrence for CeeDee Lamb, John Mechie, and a 24-second. 10-team Superflex start 10. Well, in a 10-team Superflex, I would say that CeeDee Lamb and Trevor Lawrence are pretty equal. In the 12-team Superflex, I'd much rather Lawrence. But in a 10-team Superflex, it reduces the value of quarterbacks pretty significantly. So, because there's not the scarcity. So in that case, I mean, the value's probably on the Lamb side.
Yep, and with what your roster is still currently looking like, having 3 quarterbacks, you're good. You don't need to go and sell your wide receiver 2 for Trevor Lawrence there. Yeah,
I'm going to keep this. Yeah, okay, we talked about this. Hopkins does have a no-trade clause. Yeah, but when you're that age, every player does. You have an essential no-trade clause. At that age, you're not going to someone who's made hundreds of $millions of guaranteed money. Players of that age and that prestige do not get traded to places they don't want to be. They just don't. It just doesn't happen. So when you're that, it's like in the NBA. You don't trade players at that age. And if you do, there's part of a package they get released. It just doesn't happen. So while he does not have a no-trade clause, DeAndre Hopkins isn't going somewhere he doesn't want to go. What's your take on Trubisky landing somewhere? That is not going to happen.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, irrelevant.
He'll be on a roster, sure.
Yeah, he's a backup, though. Is Jameson Williams a sell? I mean, no. I'd say no.
He's talented. I've got him in a lot of places, and I'm not looking to sell him.
He seems fairly valued to me, so
I
wouldn't see it. He's a buy or a sell.
Once the NFL draft happens, I feel like his value is going to go down potentially. And he might be open up a small buy window.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's not a sell to me, though. Would you feel comfortable with Trevor Lawrence, Lamar, and Lance in your quarterback as a 12-team Superflex competing team? I would. This is pretty good.
Yep.
It's pretty good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback 1. I mean, Lamar is also a quarterback 1, and Lance as a quarterback 3 is fine. So, fine with this. This is the kind of quarterback room. I really dislike Trey Lance. But if you replaced Trey Lance with someone in Trey Lance's value range, this is the kind of quarterback room I could see myself constructing. Yeah. So I kind of like the way it's constructed. All right, so that's the end of the questions. So I guess we can start to wrap up the show. You got anything you want to plug?
I'd say check my pinned tweets on Twitter at St. Patrick FF for some BetUS promos and some free cash that you can win that way. Also check out Run Boys After Dark every Friday night at 9:00. We talk a bunch of crap and roast each other for ridiculous takes and have a ton of fun just talking whatever is popular in football, whether it be the NFL's rigged, fantasy, dynasty, betting, you name it, you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. So check us out at the Run Boys Fantasy Network.
I love that. And then for me, Patreon, the Venmo for the Patreon, and then additionally, just if you're here, I appreciate that and that. If you're here, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the mock draft show, and then we'll be back next week with another episode of this. And then if there's any news that comes out, I'll do a short video on that. But there hasn't been any, so no short videos recently. And as always, I'll see you all on Twitter at Tyler Creator. But until then, I'll see you all next time.